Hi, you too. So I had a difficult date tonight, and I just had to, I guess, talk about it since I have really nobody to talk to. Um, so I thought maybe someone might be either entertained or interested in what I have to say. Um, I'm a real person, so if that means anything. Anyway, I got a earlier today. I got a text from someone, and I don't like text, and everybody that knows me knows that I don't like text. And it said, "Hi, this is so and so. I'd like to see you again." And I'm thinking, okay, well, I guess I've seen this person before. I guess I should call him back. So I call him back, and sure enough, yeah, he described the last time we'd met, and I remembered him. I remembered his condo. I remembered where he lived. I remembered a few things about him. He talked about um, taking me to his vacation home before, and he talked about seeing me again next time he was in town. And I remember the last time I saw him, he was very easygoing, very generous, and I did want to see him again. And I did think it was a little odd though, a few things. I couldn't well, first I could not tell he was drunk. However, he did sound different. His something about his voice did sound different, but I didn't think he was drunk. I didn't know. I don't know. I don't know this guy. I'd only seen him once, so who knows? The thing that was kind of odd though, that he did not contact me through the membership site, and I thought that was kind of weird. Also, he used a different phone number and a different name, and I just didn't think much of it because I remembered him. I'm thinking, well, okay, so he used a different number and a different name, whatever. Clients are weird like that sometimes. So I don't know. I didn't think much of it. So we arranged a time to meet, and I told him I would call him like an hour before just to confirm everything. So I called him an hour before. This is several hours later because he called me earlier in the day. And so I called him later on this evening. It was around 6 or 7 when I called for our 8 o'clock. I think it was 6 when I called or something. I don't know, whatever, but it was like an hour afterwards. So anyway, I always do that. I always call like an hour before just to make sure that everything's still good. And everything seemed okay. Nothing didn't seem anything different. He just seemed like the same person, even though I don't really know him. I've only seen him once before. And I had everything planned. I had lingerie with me. I had all that ready. And I thought we were just going to have a nice, enjoyable time, like the first time I was with him. So I drive to his place. It wasn't very far. I'd say about 30, 40 minutes, and I was there. And I called him when I got there. And as normally, like last time, he opened the garage for me. It was a condo, and he had to open the garage. So we came downstairs, opened the garage. I pulled in, parked my car. Everything seemed kind of normal. We greeted, friendly kiss. Hello, how have you been? Blah, 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 blah. He seemed okay. He at that point, I couldn't really tell he was drunk either. He was walking okay. He was talking okay. And, but I noticed that he was a little more, like, how do I say this? A little bit, he was a little bit more aggressive, I'd say. Cause I remember last time I always greet my clients with a kiss. I have no problem with that, but I just don't like it when they keep like grabbing and wanting more, more, more. Like I don't like that, especially when I first greet someone. It's supposed to be just be like a nice, polite greeting, hello, kiss on the lips, nice, and but not grabby or um, just kind of obnoxious, I guess. And he was a little more grabby, and even more so when I got to his condo. At that point, he was like way out of line, like in my space, in my face. He was all like looking at me, and he had these stubbles, and they were very sharp. And he's all like, "Look at you, give me another kiss." And then I noticed, and he had a drink sitting there, and I noticed he had been drinking at that point. And then he started like pinching me, and I'm like, "Ow." I'm like, "Don't pinch me." And he kept doing it. And I'm just like, "Don't touch my tits now. They're too sore." Oh, well, look at you. What's wrong with you? I don't know. He was just saying all kinds of weird stuff and just being like way too much in my space, way too aggressive with me, and a little too rough. And so he's like, "You look really uncomfortable there." And I was relaxing. I had my shoes off, I had my sweater off, my shoes were off. I was kicking back on the couch, just trying to relax. And he's like all in my space saying I looked uncomfortable. "What's wrong? You look so uncomfortable. Is everything okay? You want to just forget about it?" And I'm like, "No, I came here to spend some time with you." And then he made me feel like he was in a hurry because the way he was like all like grabbing at me and he wouldn't stop. So I'm like, and he's like, ask me, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Well," I'm like, "Sure." I'm like, "Do you want to go ahead and go back to the room?" "Oh, you're in a hurry, aren't you?" I don't know. I'm like, "No, but you seem like you're in a hurry because you don't want to just relax and talk. I mean, you keep coming at me." And he's like in my face and coming at me. And I just figured he wanted to go back to the room. I just was trying to relax, but he wouldn't let me. So, it's like anything I did, it was always like it was me. Like everything he did, he was like acting like it was I was the one that was doing something different. And I'm always the same. And I had it all planned. Like I had my lingerie with me. I was going to go change a little bit later after we talked. I like to work things in slowly. I don't just like start bam, like as soon as I walk in, start having someone all over in my face, kissing, pinching, touching. And I can't take all that. It was like way too much for me. Um, so instead of like I didn't want to like go and change into my lingerie at this point because I felt like he was just way too aggressive. So I'm like, "Well, let's just go on back now and relax in the room." Because I figured, okay, maybe if we go back to the room and we just kind of cuddle, he'll calm down. So it helped a little bit. So we got on the bed and we got comfortable, and I'm like, "Let's just cover up and we'll cuddle." And so we were just kind of cuddling, and then he was just kind of he was a little better at that point, but it's like the way I had it planned, it didn't turn out the way I wanted because like I said, normally I'll go and I'll change and I'll be like, "Oh, let me change into something more comfortable." But I just figured I'll skip that part because he was just way too grabby and in my face. So instead of changing into lingerie, because I don't want him to start like yanking on my lingerie or, whatever, I just figured we'll just go straight into it, cover up, cuddle. It seemed to work okay. But then because he'd been drinking, he was having problems, if you know what I mean. And this is why I have a policy, and that's that I always refuse service. I mean, I will not even make an appointment with somebody if I know they're drunk. And because I could not tell on the phone that he was drunk, like I said, he only sounded a little different. He didn't sound drunk. And there's a difference between sounding different, meaning before his voice sounded deeper, but for whatever reason his voice didn't sound deeper like it did the first time I saw him, but I didn't think much of it. But apparently maybe I guess when he's drunk, his voice changes, but he didn't sound drunk. That's the weird thing. So he was not really getting how should I say? Um I don't know what to say. You know what I mean. So it wasn't cooperating with him. And I was trying and trying and trying. And then finally he's just like, "Okay, let's do it." So And this is the other thing, because he was being so inconsiderate of me and because he was drunk and high too, also that's the other thing, he was also doing that. I felt like I just didn't give a shit anymore. Like, I'm usually very like I said, I take my time, I go and I change into my lingerie, but I didn't do that because I just wanted to get out of there at that point. I didn't want to spend any more time with him. He was too aggressive, pinching me, hurting me in my face, looking at me. Oh, you okay? You look like you're not very happy and want to leave. I mean, yeah, I could have said, yeah, actually, I do want to leave. But I'm not like that. I'm not going to take someone's money and then just leave. I've only done that like maybe in my whole like 30 years of my career, maybe once, I think, and that's just because I felt like my life was in danger. I didn't feel like my life was in danger. I just felt very uncomfortable and it was very difficult for me. And I felt like he was being very difficult and inconsiderate of me, being drunk like he was and high like he was, and not being like the easygoing, first time I ever saw him type of guy. When I first saw him, he was so easygoing. And this time it's like a difference between night and day. Like he was so easygoing last time I remember. And this time completely opposite, not easy at all, at all. So because of that, I just didn't care. I just wanted to get it over with instead of having to deal with him. So I left him a little surprise on the bed. Oh, I mean, I did have put a towel down, but normally I go to the bathroom and I if I'm on my period, I'll use a sponge, but because he was being so inconsiderate with me, I was inconsiderate back. I'll admit, like I didn't even want to take the time to go to the bathroom to change into my lingerie or to put a sponge up me. So instead, I just kind of left a little red surprise on his bed. I don't think he would care though. I mean, it's not like he's married or anything, but that's just the way I felt. I just didn't give a fuck. Take care.